Here's the challenge. This is the biggest challenge that I've ever come into when I've been teaching this in groups of people, as I used to do years ago, and as I do at the moment with my various mentoring groups, which is actually through my 100 Plus Club, and sometimes on web meets and that type of thing, and seminars of my own. The biggest challenge that I've ever come across is some people can be a bit resistant to what they think is a script. And I believe they shouldn't be. They worry that a script will make them feel wooden. And yet, if you think of any major film we've ever watched, you've watched, I've watched, or if you've ever been to a play, Shakespeare play. I live not too far away from Stratford-upon-Avon. In fact, it's just over that way there. If you've ever been to anything that was created, rehearsed and presented, it was off a script. That's the way you get it to sound brilliant. That's the way you deliver it perfectly, time after time after time. We would be amazed if we went to see a Shakespeare play and the actor started ad-libbing the lines. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him. He was a mate of mine from Small Heath. He'd be going, what was going on? People don't do that. They learn the lines to the extent it becomes part of who they are, and they deliver them every time as though it was the first time. That's the power of having a really powerful opening. So what I've created for you is an openings quiz, and you can download a PDF of it, and therefore you can go through it. I will just show you what it looks like. I'm not going to go through it now in the video. There's no point me sitting here reading it out and you doing it. If you download it, then you can sit down, think about your opening, and then there's just 15 questions here you can go through and start to say, how well do I score on this quiz? Let me give you just a couple of them so you understand. Did the opening break the customer's preoccupation? Or in other words, if we were talking to a client and their mind was somewhere else, and we'd phone them up and their mind was somewhere else, albeit politely they were looking at us and apparently listening to us, the opening's got to be so powerful that they become like a laser beam focused on us only, because they know what we have to say is going to be so good for them. So I urge you, download the PDF, do the quiz, write out your standard opening that you use today. I'm sure you've got one of some description, even if it's a default one, but you may have a cracking one. Just check it against those and see if you can answer yes to all of the questions. And if you can't, then you'll know the bits that will need changing. So let me tell you about the most amazing opening that I heard one day. And I learned so much from it and the experience. I was sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon, the front doorbell rang. And I went to answer the door, and there was a young man there, smartly dressed, not in a suit, but smartly dressed. And before I could say anything at all, with a broad smile, he said to me, "Excuse me, sir, do you like to eat good quality fish?" Now I knew what was happening. I knew it was a sales process, and so I went, "Yes, I do. Come on in." Now I think it was probably the most enthusiastic response he'd had to that opening probably for a long time, because I knew what was going on and I was fascinated to know about his sales process. So I called him in and I sat him down and I said, "Look, before we get going, just so you know, I'm fascinated by the whole area of sales, so I want to have 2 or 3 different levels of conversation with you. Tell me about your opening." He said, "Well, I tested it and I found that if I ask about fish rather than meat or vegetarian food, that I'm more likely to get a yes answer to it. So if I say, 'Excuse me, sir, would you like to eat good quality fish?' more people will say yes than if I say, 'Excuse me, would you like to eat good quality meat or good quality vegetarian or whatever it might be, good quality desserts.' Fish is the number one." So you can see straight away there's a lesson to learn here, isn't there? We do need to keep on testing our headlines, our subject lines and our openings, because it's the first thing that makes the big difference. It really is a big difference. And in the world where the big things have little difference, it's the little things that make the big difference. Just the one word, fish. I said to him, "What do you say if somebody says no when you say, 'Excuse me, sir, do you like to eat good quality fish?'" He said, I then default to, "Well, do you like to eat good quality meat?" To which then most people who say no to fish say yes. And if they say no to that, he said, "Well, I do hop down to, and do you like to eat good quality vegetarian food?" So he's got all the bases covered. But what a fantastic opening. Let me tell you what happened. He came in and he said, would you mind if I bring some fish from the van outside and show you? And some of the various other foods that we have. I went, no, bring it on in, because I wanted to see the process. We learn so much, don't we, by getting involved in the marketing and sales processes of other businesses that we can buy from. That's why I love going online and looking at people's websites and going, oh yeah, they use that colour. Oh, and they use that colour. And they use it as well for the button to say, yes, I want to buy it. Oh, I wonder if, see what I mean? You can learn, you walk into a shop and the assistant comes up to you and goes, can I help you? And you go, no, I'm just looking. Stupid question, isn't it? Can I help you? No, I walked in for my sake of my health. Wouldn't it be better if they said something far more powerful? I remember J. Abraham saying that he had suggested to people that when somebody walked into a shop, they said, oh, good morning, if it was morning. Good morning, what brought you? Good morning, which advert brought you into the shop today? Now you see that slight confusion in my face there as playing the role of the customer would be, oh, advert, did I see the advert? Oh, did you see the advert? We're doing this special offer, whatever it might be, that would engage the person in conversation. Whereas, can I help you, is yes or no answer, just not a good idea. So you and I can work on our openings, whether they're written or spoken, and today the focus is on the spoken ones, to make sure that we get the best results, the best conversions out of every sales conversation that we have. And of course, every conversation we have really is selling, because, as somebody once told me, every communication with another human being is an attempt to persuade that person to do or avoid doing something now or in the future. Let me just say it again for you. Every conversation is an attempt to persuade someone to do or avoid doing something now or in the future. So every time we're selling to somebody, every conversation. Therefore, we need a good opening to everything that we do. So the man brought the fish and the various bits and pieces in. And I was waiting for the next question. He said to me, do you like garlic prawns? So before I answered the question, and I do like garlic prawns, I said to him, why did you ask me about garlic prawns? He said, well, I've tested again, and I know that most people who will respond yes to do you like to eat good quality fish will also respond yes to do you like to eat garlic prawns? Do you like garlic prawns? Yes. What do you get straight away at the start of the conversation with two yeses? And there is lots of proof out there in the marketplace, which you could easily look up. Research that's being done, that if you can get somebody into the yes zone, and I don't mean by being too techniquey, by moving the conversation in a positive manner forward. If they say yes 2 or 3 times at the start, it really helps the process. Again, we're not trying to manipulate anybody. We're trying to make sure that we find out exactly what it is their problem or their opportunity that we can help them with. Because most selling is solving a problem for somebody or capitalizing on an opportunity. So I said, yeah, I like garlic prawns. He said, would you like to cook some? Oh, fantastic. So again, what he was doing was another classic part of selling, which is wherever possible, demonstrate, don't present. When we come to the presentation part of the 6-stage process of selling, remember it's open, gather, present, adjust, conclude, and follow. When we come to the present part in video 3, there's more information about presentations as opposed to demonstrations. I prefer demonstrations. It's the way I look at it. So he cooked up the garlic prawns. I tasted them. They were fantastic. We then moved into the next part of the process, which I thought, again, so much to learn from one encounter. He said, right, it's a very simple process that I work. I'll show you what we have, and you just give me one of 3 answers. Do you see how he was controlling the process? Isn't this brilliant? He was controlling the whole process. I said, yeah, by all means, do it to me. So he said, right. I said, what are the answers? He said, they're very simple. Yes, no, or maybe. I thought, wow, what a fantastic system. I said, bring it on. So he said, garlic prawns. Now, I wasn't prepared to give him any yeses straight away. So I thought I want to just play the process a little bit longer. So I said, okay, garlic prawns, maybe. So he'd bring something else, I'd go, maybe. Go something else, I'd go, no. And I would only ever give him maybe and no answers, just to see what was happening. When we got to the end, and we got a pile of maybes, and we got a pile of no's. So he said this to me, he said, I'll just take the no's back to the van. So off he went. right? And he asked another very clever question. He said, can I let myself back in? If you've ever read Robert Cialdini's book, Professor Robert Cialdini's book, not Influence, Science and Practice, his original one, but his other one, Persuasion, he talks in there about how he discovered from, I think it was a double glazing salesman, how he did something whereby somebody would trust him or indicate that they did trust him. And one of the easy ways when it's home sales is saying, can I let myself back in? Anyway, another discussion for another day. So I said yes. Off he went to the van, dumped the no stuff and came back in. So now we've just got left a pile of maybes. And he turned around to me because now he's understanding how it's going to work together, and he said, now there's only 2 answers. And I said, what are the answers? Because I knew what they were. He said, yes or no. So very, very clever. It's almost like going through a maze, which is what good selling is. Good selling is always a system. It's not seat of the pants stuff. It's good, solid systems that we've tested every twist and turn. So now, garlic prawns. He started with the garlic prawns. What did I have to say? Yes. And there we were off and running. So I went through the pile of stuff. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Ended up giving him his biggest order of the year. Cost me a chunk of money, however, I learnt so much from it. That is the power of an amazing opening. Excuse me, sir, you like to eat good quality fish.